Marc Marquez's 2025 dominance season, the ninth crown, the approach after sealing it, with what-if bombs dropped mid-flow, factual rival blocks, Pecco's collapse, Alex Marquez's faded aggression, Acosta, Bezzecchi, Aldeguer duels, and some ruthless theories. Marc Marquez 2025. That's not just a season. That's an execution tape, a ruthless piece of cinema where the main character doesn't just win, he annihilates the concept of resistance. 14 rounds in, 10 Grand Prix wins, 13 sprints. A 175-point lead that makes the word championship look like a joke, a formality, a paperwork exercise. He's not chasing his ninth crown. He's dragging the whole sport through a war zone where only one rule exists: survival of the most violent. The question that bleeds through the paddock, through the journalists who've run out of adjectives, through rivals who've run out of excuses, is simple. What happens after this? What does Marc Marquez do once the crown is his? Once number 9 is stamped into the history books like a scar that won't fade? Does he change? Does he ease? Does he prepare for 2026 like a chess master moving pieces before the battle? Or does he do the only thing he's always done? Go to the line, drop the clutch, and destroy. Here's the thing. When a man has already killed fear inside his own skull, when bones have been broken and rebuilt, when rivals have risen and fallen like waves crashing against a cliff, the idea of changing approach is comedy. He's not here to cruise. He's not wired to test the waters. He's here to gut every single race until the final flag of Valencia. But let's rewind. The context of brutality, 2019 was the last time he lifted the crown. 7 wins before summer, 8 podiums in 9 races, then domination so cold it made Ducati and Yamaha question their engineering departments. Then came hell. The arm break in 2020, the endless surgeries, the talk of retirement, the whispers that the king is done. Fast forward to 2025, and the same man who was limping out of clinics is now 175 points clear, riding a Ducati factory rocket like it's a scalpel. And yet, it's not just the machine. We've seen Pecco with the same red beast. We've seen Aldeguer get his chance. They've all got speed. But speed without control is nothing. Marquez doesn't just ride, he rewires physics in his favor. 10 wins already, 13 sprints. Think about that violence. That's not about taking points, that's about setting fire to the record books while everyone else breathes in the smoke. And when he was asked about what comes next, his response was pure gangster logic. Close the 25, then think about 26. One by one. Never lose the momentum, because momentum is blood flow, it's rhythm, it's life. Once you cut it, you're vulnerable. And Marc Marquez doesn't play with vulnerability. He plays with annihilation. The rival's graveyard. But what about the others? Because a dominant story only becomes biblical when you paint the battlefield with fallen names. Pecco, the man who was supposed to be Ducati's golden child, the 2-time champion, the protector of Bologna's legacy. 2022 and 2023 were his years. He was the calm assassin, the smooth operator who could grind points into titles. But 2025 exposed him. The moment Ducati handed the golden weapon to Marc Marquez, Pecco became yesterday's news. His body language in the garage said it all. Alone, isolated, watching Marquez win with the same machine he used to call mine. The downfall of Pecco isn't just about results, it's about psychology. What if he had fought harder to keep Ducati from signing Marc? What if he had thrown his weight politically, forced their loyalty? Instead, he became the guy clapping in the shadows while the king sat on his throne, Alex Marquez. Bloodline means nothing in MotoGP when results rot. Alex came in with aggression once, with that fire of a younger brother desperate to prove himself. But in 2025, it's dust. Aggression, gone. He's floating midfield, overtaken not just on track, but in relevance. Every time Marc wins, Alex's failures look sharper, deeper. What if Alex had carried the same brutality in Moto2 into MotoGP instead of folding under pressure? What if the Marquez brothers had run the grid like a mafia duo? That fantasy is dead. One brother is a ghost, Pedro Acosta, the golden boy, the rookie phenomenon, the name fans scream as the next. And yes, Acosta has flashes, dives, lunges, moments where you think the dragon inside him might breathe fire. But against Marquez, all that hype collapses. Marquez is the one teaching him lessons, showing him what control looks like. Every duel ends with Acosta frustrated, fists shaking, realizing talent is just raw material. What if Acosta takes too long to mature? What if, by the time he's polished, Marquez has already burned the whole era into his name? Aldeguer, Ducati's other bet, the young blade sharpened fast, aggressive, bold, but aggression without wisdom gets eaten alive. Tries, he really does, but Marc carves him open with strategy. It's like watching a street fighter charge a samurai, blood on the floor, lesson delivered. Bezzecchi, Aprilia's warrior, hungry, pushing that cursed machine into relevance. His Sachsenring front row was a spark. But against Marquez, sparks don't matter when the sun is burning your face. Bezzecchi swings, Marquez laughs. That's the brutality. Every one of these names adds weight to the 9th title. It's not just Marquez winning, it's Marquez breaking the spines of entire careers. What if bombs? Let's play the dangerous game. What if Marquez doesn't stop at 9? What if 10, 11, 12 are already in motion? He's riding like a man who's not aging, but mutating. What if Ducati had said no to signing him? Imagine 2025 without Marquez in red. Pecco still clinging to his throne, Jorge Martin believing he's Ducati's future, Acosta growing without this shadow. That alternate universe is already irrelevant, because in this one, Marc Marquez is the dictator. What if Marquez actually eases off after sealing the crown? What if he plays chess, tests setups for 2026, lets others win scraps? That would be mercy. But mercy isn't in his vocabulary. Remember 2019, he already had the title, but still took 3 more wins just to make sure nobody forgot who the boss was. Expect 2025 to echo that, only louder. The mentality shift question. Here's the anchor. Is a mentality shift coming? He himself answers, no. Momentum is God. You don't stop when you're in the zone. You don't start prepping for the future by softening the present. His exact words, keep all races the same way because it's the best way to start 26. That's not just a statement, that's a blueprint for continued violence. And let's not forget, he's not just winning, he's winning clean, controlled. In the past, speed came with mistakes, with crashes, with chaos. In 25, it's different. He's mastered the storm. Still on the limit, still dangerous, but now he looks untouchable. The brutal facts. 175-point lead after 14 rounds. That's unheard of in the modern MotoGP era. 10 GP wins, 13 sprint wins. That's 23 out of 27 victories possible. Numbers that spit in the face of parity. Potential coronation at San Marino with 6 rounds still left. That's not racing, that's empire building. Last time he wrapped it early, 2019, he still crushed the rest of the season with more wins. Expect a repeat. The violence ahead. So picture the final stretch. San Marino, Sepang, Valencia. Every one of these circuits is another canvas for brutality. Rivals will hope he relaxes. He won't. Rivals will think he's already champion, so maybe they can snatch a win. They're wrong. Because here's the coldest truth. Marc Marquez doesn't race to collect. He races to erase. To erase doubt, to erase rivals, to erase history books that try to put anyone else beside him. 9 titles? That's the seal. But the mentality isn't about 9. It's about infinity. Closing the chapter, opening the war. So is a mentality shift coming after number 9? No. What's coming is worse. A continuation of violence, a refusal to blink, a storm that rolls straight into 2026. He's already talking about 27 being far, but you know what that means. The man is planning 3 seasons ahead while still killing today. And everyone else? They're left asking themselves, what if? What if Pecco had fought back harder? What if Acosta was already mature enough to strike? What if Ducati hadn't unleashed the beast? What if Marquez actually gets bored after 9? But here's the reality check. Marquez doesn't get bored of killing. He'll end 2025 like he started it. On the limit, eyes cold, throttle pinned. Winter is coming, but for everyone else, winter is already here.